We begin with the removal of House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
A historic vote on Capitol Hill. For the first time in U.S. history, a House Speaker voted out of office.
Political reporter Rick Albin joining us now with more on this unprecedented vote. And Rick, how did this come about and what does it mean for the House right now?
Well, it came about because of an ongoing feud between the farthest right Republicans in the House of Representatives, the same people who took 15 ballots to get McCarthy elected in the first place. They were willing to shut down the government over not getting what they wanted in the budget agreement, and they were furious that Speaker McCarthy put up a plan that gained Democratic support to keep the government and all it entails open for the next 45 days. So it was Florida's Matt Gaetz made the motion to oust McCarthy. By rule, it had to be acted on within 2 business days, and the outcome is there is no speaker. There's an acting speaker, but there is no elected speaker in the House of Representatives right now.
Rick, what happens next then?
Well, there are a lot of steps that have to happen. Obviously, there has to be another election for Speaker, but I can't tell you who that might be. Who will be able to gain enough Republican votes to run and win? And frankly, given the atmosphere, I'm sure there are more than a few members who don't even want it. If Republicans can't find someone who can get the votes they need, Democrats have already said they won't support McCarthy, so if he needs Democrat votes, that's not going to happen. So he appears to be a non-starter. No other Republican comes to mind who can get enough of the necessary Republican votes. Democrats could try to pursue enough Republicans to vote for a Democratic consensus candidate, but that seems like the longest of long shots. And again, no idea of who that would be. So right now you got an acting speaker and there'll be an election at a date to be determined and with a candidate to be determined.
So with this decision, I mean, what's the short-term impact? Limbo.
Well, I think the short-term impact is the House is not going to be able to get much done. Not that they've gotten a lot done in the way it is, but I think here's where you are. We're all going to learn a little more about how the U.S. House operates, for one thing, in the short term, because we'll be watching this closely. But the temporary speaker will be Representative Patrick McHenry from North Carolina. But you don't really know how much of a coalition he can build and how much cooperation he's going to get, because the same divisions remain in the Republican caucus. So how long this rudderless ship can sail and what happens to the budget? That's really the big question. Remember, that stopgap budget plan expires the middle of next month. And without another agreement on a new plan or a continuing resolution, the government will not be able to continue to function as normal. So it is of some time-sensitive nature that they get a leader back in there. But at this point, and I have been talking to people in Washington, it's just not clear who that would be. Here's the wild card for you. I am not predicting that this will happen. The Speaker of the House does not have to be a member of the U.S. House. And to find a consensus candidate for Republicans, do they have to go outside that? It's never happened. Don't think it will now. But so many things have never happened that are happening now.
Yeah.
True. All right, Rick, thank you.
Thanks, Rick.